Neither. Just happy to be out there.
Can you quantify what Patrick Kane has brought to this team?
Yeah, I mean, my time in Montreal, the year we went to the finals, we had Corey Perry, Eric Stahl, Weber Price, guys like that. So when you bring in guys who have had that much success in their career, it kind of rubs off on everybody. Just the professionalism and the seriousness that he approaches the game with. So it's great to have in our room, great to have on the ice. Fans love him. He's been a lot of fun to have around.
Did you get to know him a little bit better when you were sharing space in the press boxes there for him?
I did, yeah. No, it's obviously the way he sees the game is going to be a little different than most. So to hear what he has to say about plays and what he would think in certain situations was fun.
The offensive part of the game, though, is that something that you have, but just don't bring it out as much, or what do you mean?
You know what? It kind of comes. It's not my first priority in games. If the opportunity to join and jump in the rush is there, I'll do it. But it's not my first priority typically. Like I said, if it's there, I'll do it. But I find it kind of comes and goes in waves. And then, I'll have a couple games where I'll have goals or assists, and then they start asking, you can provide some offense. So it's something I've done kind of off and on throughout my career. It's just a matter of who we're playing and how the games are going and how aggressive I'm being getting up the ice.
What do you think against our Benny Assassin?
Yeah, no, I'm not giving either one of those.
What is the biggest difference in games this time of year when you're in the race versus?
The intensity picks up. I mean, it's not quite playoff intensity, but it's getting more intense. The speed of the game picks up. I guess you could call it the freewheeling. Plays that you wouldn't see in playoffs don't necessarily happen as much down the stretch here. Teams play a little more direct. The intensity just picks up this time of year.
I guess given that, how important was it for you guys, the strides you made defensively in the month of January to lead into that for this?
Yeah, no, I've said it for 2 years now. We have to be a tight defensive team if we're going to be successful, and I think we're getting there, and we're pretty decent most nights. That's something that is going to be huge for us to have success.
I know it's early, but I mean, is this a place you'd like to stay past this season? Have you given any thought to that?
I haven't thought about it too much. I mean, I feel like it's so new and fresh being here. I've played 25 games, so just kind of focused on this year, and I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I will say that I've really enjoyed my time here with the group and the team and just the organization in general. It's been a real positive for me.
Have you had much interaction with Steve since you signed? I mean, other than seeing him here and there,
Yeah, we've talked a few times. Not about anything in particular, but just catch up on certain things. Or the one when I was injured, I was eating lunch and ended up sitting down with him for a while and just talking to him about hockey. It was pretty cool just to talk to him and hear his insight on things and how he views the game and some of the things he went through in his career too. So I mean, anytime you get a chance to pick his brain or talk to him about certain things, he's had such an amazing career and was a great player, and obviously did it here with this franchise. So it's nice to catch up when you get the chance.
I'm curious, before you signed, you mentioned Chris Kelly was playing well the other day. Did you reach out to him at all about his experience playing here?
Yeah, I talked to him, and same thing. He had nothing but positive things to say. He said I would love it here as well. So I know he was in a similar situation too, from being in Chicago for a long time and then coming to the Red Wings. So definitely picked his brain about things.
Are you looking forward to getting back to Chicago? Are there any emotions with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to expect as far as what my emotions will be, but it was a place I played a long time. Obviously, we had a lot of success, so I'm sure something will come up at some point. But like I said before, it's a different organization. It's different owner, different president, different GM, coach. There's a lot of different things about it. So I think it'll be cool to go back, and obviously with Chiarot's retirement, it's gonna be a pretty special night. And from what I understand, there's gonna be a lot of guys that I played with there just attending the ceremony, so it'll be good to see them and see them be a part of the ceremony too. So yeah, it'll be just a fun night in general, but definitely looking forward to it.
How about just the aspect of you and Alex going back and playing together on a different team in Chicago?
Oh, it's cool. I mean, you never really know how things are going to work out, and I thought we had a pretty good group there that maybe could have built something with guys like DeBrincat and Hagel and Dylan Strome, Kirby Doc, Taser, obviously, a bunch of other guys, Seth Jones, but they chose to go in a different direction, and it is what it is. And I think I'm definitely happy to be getting the chance to play with Alex again and just this team in general. So it'd be good going back.
You've only been with this group for a few months, but there's been so many ups and downs already. How have you guys kind of stayed composed as you've navigated those highs and lows?
Yeah, I mean, these guys, in the room have done a lot of the work, to be honest with you. So I feel like I'm kind of along for the ride and just enjoying it. And as I mentioned before, I think not just one guy is going to get you through some tough times or make you win a bunch of games. You need to have depth. You need to have contributions from everywhere, and that's how you're going to win as a team. And I think this group definitely has that.
And carrying over from last night's win into tomorrow's matchup against St. Louis, what are some things you guys maybe want to clean up from last night despite the win?
I thought we played pretty well, played good defensively. I mean, obviously some of their top players had some looks which you kind of expect playing against those guys, but I thought we played pretty well in general. It was a playoff type atmosphere. I thought we were into the game, never really got down on ourselves even when we were down 1-0, just kind of stayed with it and found a way to win. So keep building off that.
It's pretty cool to see Chiarot get his jersey retired too. So I think obviously both those guys were incredibly important to that organization, and it should be a fun game back. I think I've heard the UC buzzing a couple times, but I think this might be the longest time.
Did you have any interactions with Chris Chiarot when you were in Chicago?
Yeah, quite a few. He's around the rink quite a bit, and good guy. I don't not too many maybe, but high here and there, and he's always good to me.
The team's been playing well as of right now, and I'm thinking back to that win over Colorado, just a playoff type atmosphere. What have you liked about your team's performance as of late?
Yeah, I think we're learning different ways to win. I think in the Colorado game, I feel we're down 1-0 for quite a bit of the game, and we stuck to the plan, and obviously our power play came through, and Larks had a nice goal and won it in overtime. So I think those are important games to stick with and not get frustrated throughout the game. I thought we could have probably scored a couple more, but they weren't going in until 8 minutes left in the game. So those are games we need to win, and need to learn how to win, and obviously that was a good game for us.
We mentioned Patrick Kane getting back to Chicago here today, and then he also scored that overtime game winner against Colorado. What's been impressive to you about the way that he's been able to come back from the hip surgery and kind of reassimilate himself to the NHL?
I mean, he's just it just seems like Kaner to me. I feel like a lot of people doubted him coming into the season, and with the surgery and everything, but to me this is normal. I feel like this is what I expected. He's obviously a great player, and I don't think it was going to slow him down, but I guess a lot of people haven't seen him as much as me maybe, but it's awesome to have him and have him playing the way he is. He's a big part of our team, and like I said, we're happy to have him here.
And then just down the stretch, what are the keys for you guys? Because you look at the standings, you've got a 6-point lead in the playoffs right now in the race, in that wild card race. What's the key to make sure you hold that or gain some ground?
I think just keep worrying about ourselves, worrying about the details in our game, and coming ready to play each game. I think we've had a couple tough starts maybe, but we've gotten ourselves back in the game, and if we can play a full 60, it's going to be a lot easier on ourselves. I feel like we make it a little hard sometimes, but overall we've got that depth in the lineup that can really come through, and different guys are contributing every night. So, that's what good teams do, and they find ways to win when maybe they're not at their best.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just a quick one more. Can you talk about the depth this team has shown this season? What about the chemistry has allowed you guys to also find that success through that depth?
Yeah, I think, we've played with quite a few guys on the team, and I think, everyone's kind of had their different roles and whatever it may be. And, like I said, the depth is huge when those different guys come through. And, obviously Larks has been great for us this year. He's come through at big times, plenty of times, but we also got guys up and down the lineup that score those big goals and, have those big blocks or whatever it may be in the game that really, gets us going and energized and, back in the fight. So, I think it's a special group we have here. A lot of great guys in here, and, it's fun to go out there and battle every night.
Patrick Kane, I mean, how much is his intelligence coming into play, and how, he just comes right in after not playing for 6 months, misses, 2 weeks in January, and never seems to miss his timing or anything.
Yeah, it's impressive. All the things that have impressed me with Patty, how he stepped in seamlessly was probably the most, but huge addition. The player, again, probably exceeded expectations on how NHL ready he would be, but the person he's been in the room is something I didn't expect. You probably should, with all the winning he's done and the success he's had, but the leadership he's had in the room and the way he's approached it as he gets more and more comfortable with the group. And I like his team game. We don't need Patrick to finish off his career with a Selke, but we do need him to play within our structure, and he does it through intelligence. He gets above pucks. He takes good defensive space. There's times he gets caught, and there's times he wants some plays back. That's all of our guys. He's been a big part of a recent success, and hopefully a big part of our continued growth down the stretch.
Are you guys really going to ease him in early on? I mean, he's got to have exceeded your expectations.
We probably benefited from it. It was unfair to him. Remember, when he came in, we were out Dylan Larkin, we were out JT Comfer, we were out David Perron, and we were out Huso and Alex Lyon. And the poor guy was getting some fingers pointed out at him on what's wrong with the team. I mean, we were a shadow of ourselves. Every team goes through it. We happened to go through it then. And unfortunately, we overplayed him probably. He was almost immediately into that 18 to 20 minute range because we're trying to win hockey games. And maybe not ideal, but maybe it was, we put it in overdrive early on, and he maybe got a little more comfortable, a little sooner than expected. So, again, we're in a good spot with it now.
Derek, you've been around a lot of maybe elite-level hockey players, and certainly Patrick is a standalone talent, but do all these elite-level players have some of the same characteristics? Does he remind you of anybody
Yes.
else?
As talented as him, and the guy I think of when I think of is Chiarot. And again, I've been fortunate enough throughout my career to be with some elite guys, hence me fortunately being around what winning looks like with some of these specialty talents. But both are very similar, and I don't think people can appreciate not being with them day in and day out, how competitive they are, how driven they are, work ethic. Again, they've been blessed with some special talent. They've grown their talent to an elite level, but the competitiveness of those type of players is special to be around.
Derek, have you crossed paths with Chris Chelios somewhere along?
I have, yep. Chris was fairly involved with the regular organization when I took over in Toledo, and got to know him, spent some time with him at development camps. Obviously a huge fan of him. He's been really good to me in my career. He's always gone out of his way to say hello to me. His daughter worked with us in Tampa and was a great talent. Unbelievable work ethic like her dad. She literally probably texts me once every 6 weeks just to a hockey question. She sent me a D-Zone clip a couple months ago, wanted my read on it. And you talk about why someone like that is so successful, that's why. how hard she works. And so there's been a little bit of a relationship there. I'm ecstatic about Sunday for a lot of reasons. Obviously, Patty returning. It's such an honor being in this league. You rarely get opportunities to be part of something like that. So I'm ecstatic about Sunday.
Same lineup?
Same lineup tomorrow, and we will be going with Alex Lyon.
Derek, we talked about last year with you, so I know I've asked you this question already. Alex is kind of in uncharted territory.
Yep.
Have you seen any kind of fatigue at all in him?
I have not. Maybe a little bit on that road trip. Obviously, I think his games in Edmonton and Vancouver, not his best. Obviously, it's pretty obvious. But I thought a little mental reset with not only James playing, but James playing at the level he did. And it worked out perfectly. So, obviously, a back-to-back this weekend. James will get one of the two games, obviously, the back half of the back-to-back. And I think we'll have to manage it down the stretch, but we just had a little meeting with Alex, and this, he even admitted this is uncharted territory. You know, he's got to manage it, but we got to manage it as a group.
Do you let him alone, or do you talk to him alone?
I talked to him a little bit, but this day and age of having that full-time specialized goalie, you know, you kind of, you know, what Alex Westland can do. I did play goalie in college. I was fortunate enough with all the lower levels of coaching, whether it was college, USHL, ECA, I was the goalie guy. So I do have experience, and you know, I've helped out with some basic habits, footwork, some things like that. But what these goalie coaches do, it's next level. You know, I couldn't touch that expertise, so I get out of the way for those guys. No different. You know, we had Franz Jean in Tampa. He's going to go down as one of the best goalie guys in the game. Just what those guys do are next level. You kind of let it go.
Even as a head coach having some base level, how much does it help? Because there's some coaches who say, I know nothing about it. I just leave it to the goal. You at least having a little bit of that touch point.
I think it helps. I think it helps with communication. I think it helps with practice design, where we design a lot of the practice around getting the goalie proper looks or proper rest in between reps and stuff like that. So I think it helps a little bit. But again, I think the league caught on a few years ago how important that position is. And, you know, it went from, I remember the first full-time goalie coach came into the league, which was big news. Now everyone has them. Now there's entire goalie departments. So how important the position is. So I think it helps a little bit.
Have you seen growth in how Alex Westland manages guys? 2 years
Yeah, maybe, but Alex he's great. You know, I really feel fortunate with the staff we put together. My first staff put together, you know, obviously with the help of Steve, and I think we nailed it. And Alex was a big part of it. I think he's a very talented goalie coach, and I think we're getting rewarded in that position right now.
And then other Alex Lyon, just watching him play, he's so calm. And I'm just curious, from an energy conservation standpoint, does he play a style that kind of allows him to?
Yeah, I think it's a good observation. I think a lot of it is the mental aspect of it too. You know, he's even talked about being able to manage his emotions. You know, even he talked about the performance he had in Edmonton and Vancouver, and it's the first time he's had to turn it around in such a short time at this level. Comfortable doing it in the American Hockey League. Just him to think like that, so cerebral, I think speaks volumes. So I think he's in a good spot. Again, we'll have to manage this. When he had those underwhelming performances, he was in a stretch where he played 19 of 20 games. Certainly not ideal, so we'll be smart in how we handle this down the stretch.
Derek, there's always a concept of, you know, of goalies, or let's see, how do I want to phrase this properly? He seems, is he a young 31, meaning he hasn't played at this level very many games, so even though he's played a lot of hockey and has some accomplishments at the lower levels, I mean, do you think, yeah, he's 31, but really, in goalie terms, he might be 28, 27?
He's a very young. The goalie position is just a lot different how it matures. obviously one of the most famous one is Thomas in Buffalo. I don't think he hit the NHL until his 30s.
Right.
So there is examples of that, but it's just I think you also see it with some of the elite goalies when they hit their prime. It's a little later. It's just it's a position that takes a lot of time. So yes, I would say he's still a rookie or new in the position in the NHL, how to handle some things. The perfect example of what we just talked about from our West Coast trip.
What's been the biggest factor in deciding when you want to play DeBrincat and Kane together versus
That's a great question. Blindfolded dartboard sometimes. No, again, it's the luxury of the depth we have, and those two have some chemistry, but those two can play a little loose at times, and I think it's a feel of when they're going. Last night was a perfect example. We couldn't get one past their goalie, despite having a ton of looks. It's a tough balance. Do we keep going like this, or we try to produce more offense? And both felt like I felt like both were going, so that was an easy one. We had a time this year, Larkin, Kane, and DeBrincat had a nice stretch together. They had that first period against Philadelphia where they scored 3 goals, they got 6. So I think it's a hit or miss with those guys, but it's a great luxury to have. So it's probably a little bit of a field thing. I lean on Alex Tanguay a lot on that. So you might see it even into this weekend, but it's a good luxury to go in and out of. I don't know if it's a sustainable line, but that'll be up to those guys.
Who do you see in St. Louis?
St. Louis playing the game correctly, depth. They look like us. They're getting scoring throughout their lineup. That first line is playing at high level. Binnington is unbelievable. Even last night, watching some of that game back, it looked like a 4-0 game, but Binnington was great. So it doesn't get any easier. We want it hard. We know it's going to be hard. This will present yet another extremely difficult challenge tomorrow.
It's like standing-wise, team-wise, they look a lot like the Western Conference version of you guys almost.
Yep, it's good. I mean, we're literally right there, similar spot in the standings and pushing for a playoff spot.
With Lucas having the season that he's having at this age, I'm curious, do you feel as though his sort of ceiling as a player is within sight yet, or is that something that...
I hope not. I hope there's still more. Obviously, maybe, he's had moments he looks like he's popping in the league, but what I love about this year is his consistency. Last year we went through some of that up and down play, which was very noticeable, but this year he's playing at a high level. There's some game, that Seattle game, he was the best player in the ice, and he gets us a goal in regulation, and he set up the goal in overtime. It was a surprise, so that's a really good sign for a group, and I hope he's just scratching on where he can be.
You mentioned in relation to goaltenders that the prime sort of comes later than other players. Do you feel like there's a consistent pattern to when a young forward kind of hits their peak?
Yeah, great question. I just think it's a lot different than the goalie position, but no, I think it comes from different people, different times. As much as I think it was a benefit for a young player like that to make the NHL in his first year, it's different. Sometimes players will grow with some American Hockey League. It's new NHL. I think you have to develop these guys on the fly. 10 years ago, there's no doubt in my mind, a player like Lucas Herring would have spent a year or two in the American Hockey League, where today's cap is, the reality of today's NHL. Sometimes you got to develop those guys on the fly, and I think we're doing a pretty good job with Lucas.
Where are we on the line? Like, there's been a line before that people said the NHL's not the development league. Where, and at the end of the day, it's about one team can Stanley Cup. But where are we on that line now? You mentioned that guys do have to learn on the fly.
I think it is development league. Of course, it's about winning, bottom line. But you have to, part of winning is developing your youth on the fly. And that's the reality of it. I had some experience with that my last stop, and it's no different. I mean, you see our practices. Before practice and after practice, it looks like a hockey school out there. And our assistants spend just as much time working on skating, skill development, holes in guys' games than they do. We were laughing. Jay Verdi can't wait to bring that third net on the ice after practice. St. Bonnie door opens, our guys just, oh, here we go again, because they're going to get pounded. But that's the NHL, you got to develop on the fly.